Yes, y'all. Welcome to Office Hours, the special Sunday edition of Office Hours. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here on your Sunday. I appreciate it. I know for some that means it is probably very inconvenient, and for others, it probably means that it's actually really convenient because, during the weekday, maybe you can't normally make it because you got work and stuff going on, and I totally get it. Thank you for being with me here today. I appreciate the flexibility on moving the normal Friday time, but I ended up capitalizing on an opportunity to join in an all-day mastermind on Friday. This last week was Traffic and Conversion Summit here in San Diego, which was awesome. Got to connect with lots of good people and learn some good stuff. And then my good friend and business partner, Billy Jean, had a mastermind on Friday that I was able to jump into for the day and meet some really good people, hang out with some really good people and learn. So I wanted to capitalize on that. And so we did the last minute switcheroo here. So thank you to everybody. I hope you're having a nice weekend. I hope you had a good week. And I look forward to helping out in any way that I can. All right. So the way this works, this is live Q&A. Nothing planned at all in terms of content. So please, just any questions that you have that you think I might be able to help you with, and that could be on growing an online business, growing an agency, sales, marketing, sales funnels, operations, finance, psychology of an entrepreneur, fitness, travel, whatever you want to talk about. I don't care. We'll talk about it. So you can just type in your questions in the comments. And if there's a need also to bring you on camera and have a little conversation, we can do that as well. Okay. Randy, welcome, sir. Okay. Says, I'm following your R4 strategies, audits. You mentioned selling them for $1,500 to $2,500. How do you build the value in the eyes of your prospects for the audit to be worth that much to them? That's a great question, Randy. Yeah, so the audits are an awesome tool when you're selling any sort of agency service, for sure. So for those of you who are doing any sort of marketing agency service, but honestly, anything where you're selling a high value service where there's some complexity to it and there is a need for a long-term relationship or the result of you all working together is going to be some sort of long-term relationship, some sort of bigger commitment. Because when somebody is getting into a relationship with a vendor like that, where it's like, hey, this is gonna, if I'm choosing to hire you as my agency to help me with my marketing on an ongoing basis, or in my previous world to help me with IT services on an ongoing basis, anything again where it's like, I'm potentially paying you for months and years to come, and you're going to be doing something very important for me. The biggest risk to that business in hiring you is making a mistake in terms of feeling like they hired the wrong person, right? Or the wrong company. Because not only did they make the, wrong decision in terms of not getting the outcome that they wanted, but also, there's a lot of invested in the time that goes into that, and maybe having to like train your employees to work with a certain vendor or whatever. It's just, there's lots of opportunity costs there as well. So it can be a very high risk decision in your prospect's mind. So what the audit allows you to do, Randy, is it allows you, and this is super important to understand this, and it does this for both of you, which is one of the reasons why it's so valuable, is that it allows you to lower that perceived risk. Okay? Because the way you position the audit is, if I was selling to you, Randy, I would say, hey, Randy, it sounds like we might be a good fit to work together. But there are some, and this was very, very common, like in the IT world in particular. Randy, are some holes in the information that I have about your technology environment. So unfortunately, you're lacking some good documentation on how your network is designed and what licenses for software you have and don't have and things like that, right? So with small businesses, that was super common. They didn't, they set up their technology, but they didn't have good documentation on it. They didn't have a lot of times like legal licensing of their software, all that type of stuff. And so they would ask us, well, how much is it going to cost on an ongoing basis to do, support for us or whatever? And we'd say, well, to be real honest with you, we can give you a range, but right now there's a lot of holes in the information here. And so what we suggest that we do is that we start our services with you with an audit. And what that audit's going to do is it's going to allow us to fill in those holes, those gaps of information that we're missing. And at the end of it, we're going to be able to give you now complete documentation about your network and about your technology so that you as a business owner know exactly what you have. So whether or not you end up working with us or you decide to work with somebody else, you're going to have the right information that you need to be able to hire that company and know that you're getting the right services and getting the right, pricing and all that good stuff. And so it was a way of lowering risk, Randy. And it's the same thing on the marketing side. It's on the marketing side. Hey, Randy, we would love to be able to help you with your marketing. What we do to start these relationships is we do an audit of your current marketing assets as a business so that helps us shape exactly how we're going to work with you and what things we should implement first at your business to get the best results. So, here's an example of the types of questions that we're looking to answer in this audit. And I would just give them some of the questions. So like in the R4 audit, there's that general section. That's kind of the abbreviated, it's like a super abbreviated version of the audit. It's like 10, 12, 15 questions, whatever it is. I would use that to give them an example of, hey, here's the types of things that we're going to ask and answer in this audit. And then at the end of this audit, as a result, we're going to be able to give you a report that shows you, hey, here's where you're doing well. Here's where you've got gaps in your marketing that you need to focus on strategically. And we're going to lay out a plan that's then going to help you make the right decisions to invest in your marketing going forward to get the results that you're looking for. Okay. And so one of the things that I do, Randy, to make sure that is as low risk of a decision for them as possible is I oftentimes what I did, almost in all cases, what I did was I would offer to credit that audit back into the cost of their services going forward. Okay. So let's say, Randy, that if you're following my surge to SaaS methodology, so in your initial upfront cost, that initial surge, an audit would be part of that surge. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what you need to surge on, right? Do I need to build them a new website, new landing pages, new lead magnets, new follow-up sequences, right? You wouldn't know exactly what to build unless you had completed an audit. And so that surge cost would include an audit. And so let's say the typical surge cost is $5,000 and $1,500 of that is an audit. So what I would say to them is, hey, look, it's $1,500 for the audit, but if you end up working with us, we are going to roll in the cost of that, credit back the cost of that into our service agreement so that, it's really nothing additional out of pocket for you. Okay. So it gives them the opportunity to kind of have that first step of a relationship with you and makes it low risk for them to have a longer term relationship with you, and also makes it low risk for them in terms of, hey, I'm not really spending anything out of pocket. This is something that they're going to have to do anyway. Okay. So that's the way that I lower risk and build value, Randy. The other thing is the way that you build value is in the way that you sell and communicate what you're doing for your potential customers. Okay. So let me explain that. If I'm sitting down with you, Randy, and you're saying, yeah, Mike, we've been, plugging away at this business for 9 years and we've been stuck and maybe even going a little bit backwards over the last 3 years. And I tried to hire these other marketing firms, an SEO firm and a PPC firm and blah, blah, and I feel like they're all selling me, just a bunch of hocus pocus, and I didn't get the results, and I feel like I wasted a lot of money, right? Which is a conversation you'll have with a lot of business owners. Then the way that I am selling, Randy, is from a strategic perspective, right? That's what the whole R4 sales pitch is all about. And I am selling as an advisor, not as a salesperson. And so I'm going to say, Randy, look, I totally understand it is not uncommon at all for us to hear the kinds of remarks that you're making there about being frustrated with previous service providers and feeling like you're not sure what you're getting and you're not seeing any ROI out of your investment. We do things differently here, partially because we've seen that experience so many times with business owners, and we don't want to reproduce that. What we do is we have this complete system that is designed to grow your business, and it covers these 4 important areas, and we know that it works. These are fundamentals of business. But what we also do then is we tailor the delivery of that system based on the needs of your individual business. Your business is different from the business down the road, from your competition, yada, yada. And so what we do is we do this initial audit and what we call surge. And in the audit, what we're doing is we're evaluating your business to find out where you are right now. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the things that need the most attention? And then we tailor the delivery of this surge to get you up to speed, to close those weak gaps in your business as quickly as possible, to start getting results as quickly as possible. And the way that's different, Randy, from maybe you've been sold before, if you've been sold by an SEO company, well, they want everything to be an SEO problem, right? So that they can sell their services. But the reality is, it may not be the SEO problems that are holding you back. Maybe you're doing okay there, and we need to address some other things. So we take a more holistic and strategic approach to how we're doing our marketing. And that's why we've got to start with this audit so that we can make sure that we even know what we should be doing. This is like if you go to a doctor, you want the doctor to diagnose before they prescribe, right? You don't want them to just tell you need to take some pills without taking the time to actually look at the health of your body and how everything's working to determine if that pill is right for you. You don't want a surgeon to start cutting before they've actually figured out what's wrong with you and done all the right tests and evaluations, right? Same thing with your business. We're not going to come here and just sit down and tell you that you have to do these things just because that's what we sell. We're going to start with a strategic evaluation of your business so we can put together a strategic plan for your business. Does that make sense? So when you have that conversation, Randy, it's super hard for a business owner to argue that, right? You're selling them in a way that, hey, I'm selling you in a way to look out for your best interests. Like it makes sense. It's logical. I can't just sit down with you and tell you I'm going to sell you these SEO services when you don't even know if it's SEO services that you need, right? So that positioning in your sales process builds the value, okay? I hope that's helpful for you. And Randy, you probably know Clarence Fisher in our community. I bring him up right now just in particular because he is having so much good luck with the audits right now. We had a conversation a couple of months ago about these audits in the whole rollout of the new surge to SaaS approach of R4, and he's been selling with R4 for like 10 years. But he was like, okay, hold on, I gotta consider putting these audits back into the equation because he had kind of, I think, stopped using those and stopped seeing the value in those. And now he's selling them like crazy. And so every customer engagement that he's starting with is starting with a paid audit. And he's not even offering to credit them back. He's just, no, it's $2,000 for an audit. And here's what we do. And here's what you're going to get at the end of it. And he's killing it with them. Like, I mean, he's selling audits like crazy. That's a nice way to start the relationship. So, Randy, you may want to just reach out in the group, see if you can connect with him as well. But I hope that helps you, and certainly let me know any additional questions that I might be able to help you with. John, hey, good morning. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. All right, let's see here. Adele says, 3 years on, I'm still peddling a beginner stage. I seem to be stuck and not getting enough traction. How can I change that? It's a great question. Absolutely, Randy. So Adil, I think that this is really common, and I think it is a well-timed question for me because one, I am holding the my growth planning boot camp this next week, starting tomorrow, an hour a day, every day of the week, to help you create a plan for growth for your business. Okay. So I'm going to take the opportunity real quick to pitch that, actually, because I think that it is so dang important that a couple of things. One, that it's called Growth Planning Bootcamp. So one, that you have a plan of attack on how to grow that answers the question that you're talking about. Like, hey, Mike, what do I do to start getting ahead? Because I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels here. If you don't have a plan that you can look at and go, okay, here's what I'm supposed to do today, and here's what I'm supposed to do this week, and here's what I'm supposed to do this month to make growth happen, then you are in a spot where you're just kind of, you just kind of flounder, right? You're not really clearly driven each day as to, hey, here's what I need to accomplish. Okay. And that is a really, really lonely place to be as an entrepreneur. And I say lonely because there's nothing worse than getting up as an entrepreneur and you don't have, the support of somebody giving you a paycheck and benefits and all that stuff and telling you you're going to be okay. All right. And having to get it done when you don't feel like you know what you need to do to get it done. Like, that's a terrible feeling. So I'm going to give you here. I'm just going to go ahead and, like I said, I am absolutely shamelessly going to plug this. labspecial.com/GPBC. That's Growth Planning Bootcamp -live. Okay. labspecial.com/Growth Planning Bootcamp there, GPBC-live. I also put it in the comments here. This is one of my favorite things that I do every year. I have done this every year now for probably, how long have I been an entrepreneur? I've been an entrepreneur like 20 something years. And probably 15 of those years, I have been doing this process. And it is one of my favorite things that I do every year because it gives me clarity and confidence and a plan. And the most important part of developing a plan is not the plan itself. As they say, a plan is like only good until it, meets the marketplace, right? Like it's like, as soon as you create it, it's already wrong. Right. And that's true. No plan ever goes exactly according to plan, especially when it comes to something as complex as building a business. But the value is in the planning. The value is in the thinking. The value is in the creating or answering questions, challenging assumptions, in getting some creativity flowing and working on your business for just an hour a day, even instead of in your business all the time. It's such an incredibly valuable process for me that I just can't imagine not doing it. And so I am inviting you into my personal planning process in this boot camp. I'm giving you the tools I've used for the last 15 plus years with my teams. I'm sharing with you how I do it, and I'm just walking you right through that process. And this process, I promise you, has been critical in my ability. I've built, 3 years in a row, Inc. 5000 fastest growing company list, right? I've been a Colorado company to watch. I was number 9 on the Shopify challenge, fastest growing e-commerce businesses. I've built businesses from scratch. I've built businesses from less than scratch where I had to turn them around. This process is critical to my successes in being able to do that. So I really highly, if you are in that position where you're like, how do I get unstuck? Please come to this. Okay, please come to this. I literally like beg of you, because I think it's that valuable and I want to help, right? No, Adil, it is part of the leverage selling mastermind. So if you are in the leverage selling mastermind, it's included. Even better, okay? So go to the circle group for the leverage selling mastermind, and I posted the circle group for this, and I've posted the calendar dates in there. So it sounds like maybe you just got to get in there and pay attention. Get in there, okay? So here's the deal, though. I will answer this question, though, for those who, for whatever reason, you can't come to Growth Planning Bootcamp, for whatever reason that is. I want to answer this question for you, because there's a couple of very, very important things here. One, I think the biggest killer of growth and dreams, even, if you will, for entrepreneurs is having poor expectations. Okay, and what I mean by poor expectations is that you simply, I'm sorry, hold on, my daughter is in college and she was just trying to call me. Let me just respond to her so she knows I'm not just ignoring her here. So what I mean by false expectations is, unfortunately, right now, guys, we live in an environment where entrepreneurship is very popular, and selling courses and stuff like that to entrepreneurs is very popular because it's a good business. There's good money in it, right? You can make really good money and do really well. Unfortunately, that means that a lot of the people who are selling you courses and hyping up the whole world of entrepreneurship throw lots of junk out there about how fast you're going to be able to make money. And, you know, I'm driving Lambos and I'm on yachts and all that type of stuff, right? And so people go into it thinking it's going to be easy or it's going to be fast. Entrepreneurship is almost never easy or fast. Almost never. Okay. And so if that's the psychology going into it, almost everything that turns out to look like work ends up getting ignored, or, you know, you quickly go, oh, this niche isn't the right niche, so I'm going to a different niche. This business model isn't the right business model, so I'm going to another business model, because we're looking for easy and fast all the time. Easy and fast is extremely rare in entrepreneurship. Okay. So one, it's just this psychology. If that's your psychology, then you're not going to just put your head down and do the work every day that needs to be done. Right. So that's major. The second thing, though, when I say false expectations, is I'm talking about the nitty gritty, like the numbers, which we will talk about in this growth planning boot camp. Okay, this is what this growth planning boot camp is getting into the numbers. Okay. And so if you don't have an understanding of just a realistic sales cycle, right? If you don't have an understanding of the metrics of a realistic sales cycle in your business, then you will not understand, am I on track, off track, or what do I need to do to get more growth? So let me just give you a specific example here. If I sit down to sell agency services with a qualified appointment, so a qualified appointment, somebody who has already said, I'm in the market for these services, I'm the right kind of business that you work with, I've got a budget, and I'm trying to make a decision here in the next 30 days as to who I'm going to work with. So that's a qualified opportunity, right? If I'm sitting down with that opportunity, I would expect a solid salesperson that I've hired to close 25 or 30% of those deals. Okay. So 1 out of every 4, maybe 1 out of every 3. Okay. Statistically speaking, over a period of time. Okay. So if that's the case, let's just say to close 1 deal at 25% to keep it easy, that means I have to have 4 opportunities with qualified, right? They're qualified opportunities, 4 meetings with qualified opportunities. To get those 4 meetings, I probably have to have an initial meeting, an initial qualifying call meeting, depending on your sales cycle, or they have to go through and fill out a survey, you know, if it's all online, whatever it is, right? With probably like 10. So there's probably like 10 who have come through my process, my marketing, my sales, whatever it is, and said, yes, we are interested. Let's have a call with you. So this is more like some sort of exploratory call, right? Qualifying call is what we call it in our sales process, where we're having a call with them on the calendar. It's booked. And I'm going to find out in those 10 calls that probably 6 of them are not actually qualified. So I just had to have a calendared call with 10 prospects that look like they could be really qualified to get to 4 that are actually qualified to close 1. Okay. Now, let's say that the way that I'm getting people into those qualifying conversations is through Facebook ads. I'm running Facebook ads saying, here's what we do for restaurants. We help them grow, you know, fill out this form here, and then we'll have a call, you know, yada, yada, right? So you know the whole process. So what is my click-through rate on my ads? My click-through rate on my ads, let's say it's 3%. That's pretty damn solid, okay? 3% on my ads. It can be higher than that, but it can be lower than that. Pretty damn solid. 3% of people click through. So if I get 3% to click through, what percentage of those actually go to fill out a form saying, yes, I'm interested, let's have that call? Somewhere in the neighborhood of 5% if you're doing a pretty darn good job, okay? Over time, you can do all kinds of follow-up and stuff and work that up to 10%. Okay, 5%. So let's just call it 5%. That's 1 out of 20. Let's call it 10%. Okay, let's say you get 10%. That means to get 10 people on the calendar, okay, and actually have a call with them, you had to get, 100 people to even see that form with a 3% click-through rate. Now we're talking hundreds and hundreds of people to click on the ad. What is the average cost per click? Average cost per click, if you're doing really, if you're doing really well these days, I mean, $5 a click. So what are we talking about to make all those conversations happen to sign one customer? We're talking about thousands of dollars in ad spend. Okay? We're talking about thousands of dollars in ad spend right there. So just working those numbers, those are realistic numbers. And there's all kinds of ways over time to make those numbers better, right? Because you're in the marketplace for longer. You're publishing content. The prospect who clicked on your ad 6 months ago but didn't do anything has been watching your videos all this time, and now they go ahead and book the call and sign up, right? As you're in the game longer and you're doing all of the things that you need to grow, those numbers can get better and better and better. But when you're just getting started and you have no credibility, you have no testimonials, you have no nothing, right? You're in the hardest version of that. So it's like the most expensive, most difficult version of that. And so if you don't map out those numbers and understand them, and you're not able to look at them and realistically go, okay, that's what I'm dealing with. And then you go out and you make a couple of calls, knock on a couple of doors. Somebody sold you on, hey, send 1,000, cold emails, whatever, right? So you're trying things like that, or you spent $100 on ads and didn't get a customer. And you're like, this Facebook stuff sucks. This model doesn't work. I spent $100 and didn't get a customer. When if you did the math and worked it backwards, you realize $100, I mean, unless like you just had like pixie dust land on those ad campaigns that day, it is not even going to get you, to the table yet, like not knowing the numbers of your business and just flying blind. This is one of my favorite sayings in all of business. Hope is not a strategy. I love you to death. I love your ambition. I love your optimism, all that type of stuff. But if you're just out there hoping to grow, instead of having a system for growing and a plan for growing, where you can model the numbers and go, this is what I have to do. I have to get 1,000 people to see this ad. I have to do that today in order to keep my numbers on track to grow. If you don't have a plan like that, you're kidding yourself. And look, you may get lucky and grow a business, and awesome. More power to you. Nothing would make me happier, but I wouldn't bet my money on it. That's for damn sure. I want you all to think like, thank you. Thank you, Davey. I want you to think like, even if you haven't actually done this, if you raised money from like somebody that you really respected, invested $100,000 in your business and said, all right, Adil, I want you to show me how are you going to grow? Would you dare go back to, like, let's say I put 100 grand in your business. Would you dare come back to me without a plan that had details and metrics and numbers and assumptions? And you said, Mike, I'm going to do these things. I'm going to track the results every day. And then I will adjust every 30 days. I'm going to report to you every 30 days, my progress and how I'm doing and what adjustments I'm making and all that type of stuff. Would you dare take my 100 grand and not do that? No. Because I can tell you right now, I'd be taking my 100 grand back real quick, right? If you were just like, oh, I'm just going to go out there. I bought a course and it said just to run ads. So I'm just going to go run ads, right? Or to send cold emails. Like if you couldn't show me a plan based on metrics, I would say, give me my $100,000 back. You need to pretend that you have that investor. You need to pretend that you have that investor, even if you don't, and operate with that kind of discipline. Okay. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to be successful as an entrepreneur and have a career as an entrepreneur, that's what you got to do. All right. That's what we'll do in the Growth Planning Bootcamp. I will share with you the tools and the process that I go through to get you traction, to get you growing. And the answer, Adil, if we're talking about the agency business, there's a number of different answers. So have you productized your services? Have you picked a niche? Do you have those products and services clearly visible out in the marketplace so that people can see them and know what you do? Are you communicating your message properly? And then the most important thing, man, is are you in the market every day getting attention by adding value? Okay. Are you publishing content? Are you sharing insights with prospects? Are you doing that every day and making sure that it gets seen? Are you boosting that content on Facebook and LinkedIn to make sure that it gets seen? Because you know that 1,000 people need to see it today in order to get 50 of them to click through, in order to get 5 of them booked on a calendar, in order to get one of them to actually be a customer. That's it. That's it. And anybody can tell you any tactical thing. Cold email, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, publish on TikTok. Yes, all of them. Sure, they all work. Those are all just tactics. If they get you the eyeballs and those eyeballs respond and click through and do what you want them to do, great. Cold call, whatever you want to do. I've done them all. They all work. They all work. It's just a matter of managing the metrics and getting it done. I mean, that is simply all it is. It's not sexy, but that's it. Chitano, I hope I'm saying that right. That's a cool name. Hey, Mike, thanks for the Sunday brain snacks. You bet. Wondering if any advice for handling clients who want to cancel services due to recession, budget cuts, uncertainty. Yeah. First of all, I would try and get a conversation with them where you say, hey, look, I can respect that things look tough and maybe look a little bit scary right now. But I think you also know, if you're being honest and kind of do that gut check with yourself, that cutting back is only a surefire way to make sure that your business does not grow or succeed, right? Your business is not going to grow and succeed by cutting back. Okay. So if that person doesn't agree with that, you probably just need to let them go, right? But if they do agree with that, say, I'm absolutely willing to work with you to do what we can to try and keep you on offense. That's my job. That's my job as a marketing advisor or whatever. I'm trying to keep you on offense. Okay. So we could, you can offer some temporary solutions, right? It may be that you do need to scale back certain services where, hey, the customer isn't seeing as clear of ROI. So maybe those types of services, you need to cut them back. If maybe there's a price break that you can give somebody where you say, hey, look, for the next 3 months, I'm going to give you this price break. And then at the end of those 3 months, we reevaluate, just under the understanding that that this is cutting into my business's margins and I can't do this forever. So at the end of those 3 months, if we're not in a recession, those prices are going to go back up. Right? So just make sure they understand it's temporary. And then the final thing I would do is offer to pause the services instead of cancel. Okay. So, hey, look, we've done a lot of work together. We've got a lot of things in place. If you cancel the services, we're going to have to start that all over again, or you're going to have to start all over again with a new vendor at some point, which is expensive and time consuming. Why don't we just hit pause for 90 days? And at the end of that 90 days, we can reassess and see where you're at. So I would do that last one is you're trying and keep the relationship, anything to keep the relationship so that they're not out hunting for something new is a win. And then Gitano, but depending on what all you offer, I would focus like crazy on whatever services that you can keep on that are automated, super high margin. So if you're using high level, right, just like, hey, look, you got to keep running your business. You got to keep selling, which means you got to have the tools. So let's keep the tools on for you, $97 a month, whatever it is. But that way you're keeping your recurring revenue and your margin coming in. If you are in, and I apologize if I don't recognize you, I try and recognize everybody in my community, but if you're not getting my content delivered content, so if you're in services that scale mastermind with me, you get my content delivered content. In that content, there's actually some blog posts that you have available to you. It's actually a white paper that I wrote that's about what to do in a recession, that type of thing. There's a presentation about it as well. I will get all that stuff back out to you guys here in the coming weeks because I know there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy right now. So we're going to need that messaging. I would be proactive about that messaging. Okay. Be proactive about, here are strategies to, to continue to grow and win even in a recession. And I would, like I said, be proactive about getting that messaging out there so that you're telling them the strategy. You're telling them the way that you want them to think. Okay. All right, let's see here. Mike Chapman. Hey, Mike, I'd like to come on live when you can. I posted my product idea and STS discussion 2 weeks ago. Website is a service. New plumbing contractors would like a little more insight. Yeah, absolutely. Mike, hold on one second. Let me get you the invite link. Yeah, just put that in the comments, Mike. Wondering if your course local retargeting blueprint is updated or good to go as it is. Yeah, Randy, there's not really much to update. Honestly, I mean, I actually responded to this. I think it was in Circle. You asked about this. Retargeting has changed in that all of the latest iOS stuff and everything limits the reach of retargeting campaigns now, but it has not changed in terms of you still absolutely should be doing it and setting it up the same way. I mean, there's not really anything different there. So, all right, let's see here. Real quick, Mike, before I bring you on, I'm just going to ask, I'm planning on doing a pay-per lead model where the customer pays for the ad spend and a $97 a month technology fee for the go high level automations, pipeline, calendar, etc. Want to do pay-per lead model cover the technology for the, how would you set this up logistically? Would you do ads in the customer account or your own? Chico, so I always try to create a model where I control all of the assets. There's two core reasons for that. One is just operationally, it's much easier, right? If you're able to, I don't know what market you're talking about. Let's say you're roofers, right? And so you set up your own roofing brand and you're able to run ads for all of your customers out of your roofing account, that type of thing. That's ideal. Okay. It's ideal for two reasons. One, logistically, it's just easier to manage. Two, they then don't see how you're spending the money on their ads. Okay. Because small businesses, let's say they're paying you $497 a month total for ads, and you're only spending 97 of that on the ads themselves so that you have good margins, 75% margins. Whatever that was, I can't remember what price I just said, but anyway, 75, 80% margins. If they see that they're paying you $497, only $97 is going into ads, a lot of them will just want to quit your services right there on the spot. So it can be very, very, very frustrating that they cannot get their minds around that you have to make money too, right? So it is very hard then for most small businesses if you say, well, look, you need to spend $300 a month on ads and I need to make $497 in a management fee, right? And now they're looking at these two expenses and going, wait, I'm paying $300 for ads and I'm paying you $497, I'm paying more for you to manage the ads than I'm paying for the ads themselves. What's up with that? Psychologically, even though it really doesn't matter, it doesn't make any sense, those things are not, it doesn't matter at all. Like psychologically, so many small businesses have a hard time with that. And again, will cancel because of just seeing those numbers. They're just psychologically just not capable of handling it, understanding it. So ideally, what you do is I would just do an account of my own where I'm running ads to my own assets. So again, let's say this was roofing, plumbing, whatever. You would have your own plumbing site, plumbing landing pages, stuff like that. You're running ads to your own landing pages that you are then sending those leads to the customer and go high level that has hired you. And then you're charging them on a per lead basis. And then, you want to charge them the technology fee. That's totally fine. I doubt you'll get much pushback against that. So that is the way I would structure it. When you run all ads from your own account, are you risking several clients if the ad account is deactivated? Do you create a separate ad account for each customer? I wouldn't set up a separate ad account. No. And do you risk deactivation? Sure, but just don't do anything that's going to get you deactivated. I mean, make sure you're following all the rules. Okay. Let's see here. Mike Chapman, my man.
Good morning.
Good morning. How can I help you?
Thanks for showing up on Sunday, Mike. That's pretty good.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So I really appreciated that remark. I think it's great. And I wanted to get a little more detail. For example, I have two lists created by you, but I don't know at what point in time. One of them includes as the basic package reputation, the other one does not. So let's say we're only talking about website as a service and with website to SaaS as the key idea behind my product offering. As far as they're concerned, they don't really think of it that way, but they're getting more than SaaS. They're getting service, they're getting software, they're getting systems.
Yep.
They're getting a bundle of things for a very low price. Now, with a product like this for new plumbing contractors, do you think it's appropriate for that $97, $98 price tag to include the reputation? Or do you think that's too much in the package? Do you think I need it in the package?
No, and by reputation, you're saying like the review system, like to have the review capture system and publishing on their website?
That's exactly right. Yeah, you could call it reputation management. I dub it as build a great reputation. So they're able to manage the flow, sending review requests, monitoring the responses, and getting them posted.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely include that personally. I think so. On that $97 a month price point for that website, you want to load it up with as much value as you can that doesn't have additional cost to you. So like that review capture, that's a perfect example where it's just like, hey, this is something that will add tremendous value to that website that doesn't cost you anything to put in there. I would load that thing up. I would load it up with as much of that as you can, and then have the upsells be those, or the next plan up be those high value things that, you know, actually have some additional costs. So, you know, the SMS follow up and things like that, where, hey, there's some additional cost to this that has to be paid. Even that can be done, you know, on a credits basis. Hey, you know, you get 50 free SMS messages at 97 a month. And then if you go over 50, you start paying, you know, 2 cents a message or whatever it is, whatever your rates are. But I think at that $97 a month, you want people to be blown away by, oh my gosh, I just got this awesome professional website, and it's got the review capture and publishing, and it's got, you know, this and that. Like you want them to really feel the magic of that offer. It's a great foot in the door then.
Sounds good, which is what I had in mind.
Cool.
With this particular product, the natural upsell for that type of customer would be a GMB listing and then posting to the GMB listing for local proximity search and find, building up a customer base in their area, followed closely behind by Facebook local search, which is actually pretty big. Can't compare with GMB, but it's actually pretty big in its own right. So that would be the upsell product. And since we already have we can already tie to our app. So my product is the website where they get to control their URL, and I give them under their own control, their own email based on their business URL. And I think that's important to let them control those and let them own them.
Totally agree.
Okay. Then the natural upsell would be, hey, would you like to get found on Google locally? Now, for this type of end target, in other words, my client, to be found locally, all he has to do is be optimized, and then he will be found locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean proximity type, not regionally, but locally. Now, with your product years ago, with Kutenda, it seemed like, well, with your core product of $98 a month, $97 a month website, you included you included the citations as part of the package, which was very attractive to them at that point.
Yep.
Now, with those kinds of clients, prospects that became clients, it seems like that kind of client is more of a regional, wants more of a regional reach, not exactly local proximity, local, but regionally. in their area.
I would say that's
Correct?
true.
Okay. So in this case, I could always come later and include citations, but for starters, I don't know. Do you think it adds the kind of value we're going for? Do you think I have enough value, or should I add citations?
I would test it, to be honest with you, but I think that I would, well, so one, I would look out there and see if there's competitive offerings that you find in that space and what they're offering, just so you know if these guys are getting hit over the head with a similar offer. But then I would, what is the cost to you to be able to do that?
Citations. Well, I would either use Yext, or I would do a one-off. The trade-off is you can't really change location, days, or times, or post that you're not there, closed on a day when you'd normally be there. If you use Yext, you can. If you do the manual method, then you have to go back in there manually and update everything, literally.
I would do the one time as part of it, and then I would sell the ongoing in a higher plan.
Okay.
Yep. So that way they can see the value of that initial optimization, and they can you can have that conversation with them. You're selling the value of it, you're selling the importance of it, and then the next conversation can be, and look, things change, yada yada. Like, if we want to really stay on top of this over time, here's how we do it, and that's included in our $147 a month plan or whatever.
Okay. And which would be Yext. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Alrighty. It seems like that is really going to have some sizzle, some appeal.
Yeah.
You got the website. There's a long list of things
that are included with
they
that.
don't have to do. That's all professionally taken care of.
Yeah.
They get the app, they get the reputation, they get the text to pay, they get the citations with the bundle. That sounds like it's really got some zippity doo dah to me.
Yep, totally. I love it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good rest of your Sunday, sir. Let's see here. Jonathan says, is it possible to have a low ticket and a high ticket offer together? Yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. Yeah, and I mean, we can talk about specific examples, but yeah. So I mean, let me just give you maybe the most obvious example, like super common, like in sales funnels today, where you buy the $10 ebook, let's call it, and then you immediately get sold into apply for this $5,000 coaching package or whatever, right? So there's the $10 ebook and there's the $5,000 coaching pitch right after. So you can absolutely do that. Let's take my IT services business, because it cracks me up what people call high ticket these days. Like, I don't even know what that means anymore. Because somebody says $5,000 is high ticket, and it's like, that's not high ticket at all. Like when I was selling my IT services to small businesses, same small businesses that you guys are selling to, we sell at $2,500 a month, and they'd be with us for years and years and years. So, those customers were worth six figures. And then sometimes I would start with a $25,000 project, so, or more. So, and our services were cheap. They were meant to be like budget services. So, like, I wouldn't have called our services high ticket at all. And now people are like, that's high ticket. So anyway, the point just being, like in those IT services, we would sell we had $97 offers, $297 offers, $1,500 offers, things like that were just one-time sales, to try to then get the relationship going to sell the full managed services, which were like the $2,500 a month, that type of thing. And then we also had low ticket services that we would sell to our existing customers to do like additional work for them. So something that was outside of the scope of the services that they were getting for us, but they wanted it, we would charge them. Yeah, we can do that for you. It's a one-time $297 fee. That way you make sure that people aren't just asking you for everything. And two, you make sure that you are not bleeding money by bleeding the time of your people who are helping out your customers. That makes a massive difference in profitability when you start charging for stuff like that. So yeah, those things can absolutely go together. And I'm happy to respond to like a specific scenario if you have something. I'd be happy to take a look at it. Let's see here. Local domination show. Love it. What do you think about UpHex to create and manage Facebook ads for clients? UpHex. I have absolutely no idea what UpHex is. Let me take a look. UpHex. Let's see. We'll just share my screen real quick so everybody can see what we're looking at. Facebook ads clients can launch themselves right in Go High Level. Facebook ads clients can launch themselves right inside of Go High Level. Huh? I don't know. I haven't seen this before at all. It seems like a good like common sense value proposition. I will be surprised if High Level doesn't have this just built in pretty soon. So I think UpHex probably becomes unnecessary relatively quickly. But that being said, I mean, sure. I think this only works for, I think this only really works for customers who want to like launch their own ads though, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I get it. I see it. I understand. I think that High Level will have that built in relatively soon, but for now, it looks nice. But again, this only makes sense for customers who are interested in launching and running their own ads, right? Which, many, if not most of the customers that you're selling to probably have no interest in launching and running their own ads. That's why they're talking to you in the first place, right? So, but if you have customers that want to do that, it looks like a pretty nice solution. Rajesh says, will we be selling one-time citation at the $97 price point? Yeah, Rajesh, that's what I was suggesting, is that he just includes that. Like I would put a price on it. I would say so this is going back to Mike when he was asking about including the citation in that $97 a month website. So it's essentially a free website service. You get the free with a $5,000, $10,000 website. You get it free. All you're doing is paying us our $97 a month hosting. When they list out all of the things that are included in that website, I would include the one-time citation, submission, yada, yada service. I would probably value that at more like $297, but I would put like a separate price point, a separate value to that, Rajesh, so that you're showing them you're getting all of these things. You're getting the website design, you're getting the hosting, you're getting security, you're getting monitoring, you're getting yada, 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 yada. You're getting this citation submission, total value, $15,700 for $97 a month. So, but yes, I would just do it when the customer comes on board as part of that initial setup of the customer. Okay. What are a few good services to start with? I remember saying the newsletter was a good one, but I can't find where it is. So Trina, no. So the offering a newsletter. We could be talking about two different things. There are newsletters as a service. So you can do newsletters as a service for your customers. So let's say your customers are lawyers, and all lawyers should be sending out a good, client newsletter every 2 weeks, but they're not, right? you could offer a newsletter service where you put together that content and send it out on their behalf. That's a great service. There's some great businesses doing that do really well. So that's one thing that you could do. Absolutely. Another thing that you can do, which I really like, and that's probably what you've heard me talk about, is actually building your own media asset that is a newsletter. So here in San Diego, I publish a newsletter with tens of thousands of subscribers on it. There are people here in San Diego that want to hear about new restaurants, new bars, new events, things like that in San Diego. I publish that newsletter so I can sell advertising through that newsletter and use that as my foot in the door to sell customers. Okay, so those are two different things. That second model is my local newsletter profits training program. The first model, offering newsletters as a service, I don't train on that specifically anywhere at the moment, but it's super simple. I think you kind of get the model. The model is just you charge X dollars a month and send out a newsletter form, right? I mean, it's not overly complicated as far as the model goes. The trick to running that business, of course, is getting good quality content put together on a regular basis at a price where you have good margins. So, but in terms of what are a few good services to start with, okay, let me answer this question. This is one of the most important questions that I get asked all the time. And the answer, Trina, is to sell the services that your customers need. Okay. And I'm not trying to be elusive here in my answer, but who are you selling to? Okay. If you are selling to chiropractors, they need something different than lawyers. If you're selling to restaurants, they need something different than plumbers. So who are you selling to, right? And then we can dial in what are their needs, and then we can dial in services that are responsive to those needs, and that's how you win. Okay. I believe the second one was, where's the training for that one? If you go onto the Services That Scale website and go to the products, you will see Trina local newsletter profits. Okay, let me see. I can pull it up real quick. Sorry, I'm just digging around here, see if I can find it real quick. Yeah. And I just posted the URL there in the comments. Okay. That's a fantastic model, by the way. I love, the whole media asset model is the thing I love in this industry. So Jonathan says, I was thinking by like the $97 price per month foot in the door website offer and a higher ticket database reactivation with concierge service where we book appointments for them. Yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. That's a great 1-2 combo, because the $97 a month foot in the door website is something that you can much more easily market at volume and have the presence out there in the marketplace and start generating revenue from it. And you can build just really nice long-term recurring revenue from that. That's super high margin. Whereas the higher ticket database reactivation, as much as I know a lot of people have had good success with that, and Rob Bailey is a longtime friend and business partner of mine. I know that's his bread and butter thing. In my opinion, just selling that, I think that you're really, really, really limiting your opportunities if that's all you're selling, one. And two, in most cases, it's going to be something that you're going to do once or every once in a while or something like that. And it's not going to have nearly the same degree as the long-term stickiness of just a good old $97 a month website hosting offer, right? Websites don't go away. people keep paying their website hosting for years to come. It is a phenomenal model. So between doing just the database reactivation or doing other services like this that allow you to get more relationships, more customers, and a percentage of those you're going to sell the database reactivation to, absolutely prefer that you offer both the low ticket and the high ticket in that case. Let's see here. Mike, can you help me with the alignment tool for learning institutes as per the new R4 business? I don't understand what you mean, alignment tool for learning institutes. I'm not sure what you're asking there, Rajesh. Rajesh, there is the service alignment tool. Is that what you're talking about? The service alignment tool is inside of the R4. It's right here. I can just pull it up real quick if that's what you're referring to. Oop. Spelled. Here we go. Let me just share the screen here so people can see what we're talking about real fast. Yeah, this is the service alignment tool. So going back to a previous question about what services should I offer, this is the tool that I use inside of R4, inside of MSP Academy, things like that. If I'm helping people to design their services, I design around these 4 R's: reputation, resell, reach, and retarget. But there are lots of different services and assets and offers that you can create under those 4 buckets. And depending on who you're selling to and what their needs are, you can, design your packages or deliver your packages with, a whole bunch of these different kinds of, features and stuff in here. So let me go ahead and copy this link, and I will just put it in the comments, Rajesh, so that you can grab that. Okay. Joe, thank you very much. I have had a great weekend so far. Thank you. I've had a great week. It has been an awesome week. I mentioned earlier that it was Traffic and Conversion Summit here in San Diego, which meant that there were a whole bunch of entrepreneurs and marketers here that I know that I haven't, had to have as much, I haven't been able to have as much in-person connection with them as I would like to over the last few years, obviously. And this was a great week of, all day at the event, all evenings out for dinners and drinks and stuff like that with everybody. It was a lot of fun. So it was a great week. It was a very busy week, which I love. So yeah, it's been good. Yes, great running into you. Let's see here. Biggest takeaway from the event. Biggest takeaway from the event. I knew this before going to the event, but still, biggest takeaway from the event is the power of in-person events, because there is nothing like being able to connect with people in person. And then my biggest takeaway from the event is that I just have a handful of areas where I'm inspired to just do much better, much bigger, and I already was going into the event. I don't lack for motivation, but going there sometimes and seeing examples of what people are doing that, can give you that little tweak in your mind of, oh, there was that little hang up that I had, or that little example that I needed to see of how to do something or whatever, that really opens things up for you. I got a couple of those at the event, which was awesome. And yeah, it was great. It was definitely great. It was a good week. So, all right, everybody, look, I have to get to my daughter's soccer game, so I have to run. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you. I know on a Sunday, like I said, for some of you, that's convenience. For some of you, it's not. Either way, I appreciate you being here. I will give one final plug just to encourage you. Please, if you can, make it to Growth Planning Bootcamp. Please do. I promise you it will be one of the most valuable things that you do. And it will be resources that you will use for the rest of your career. I absolutely promise you. I use it every single year without fail, and you should too. So I hope to see you there. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your day and a great, strong start to the week. And we will see you on a future call. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Take care. We'll talk here real soon. Bye-bye. Awesome. Thank you, Davey.